Welcome back to the Spanish Wine Week, to the live interviews, daily live wine interviews with wine producers from around. They've all changed since we last spoke. So, just like to introduce the three producers, fantastic producers we've got today. Starting with Sara, just say hello and name of your winery. Oh, we don't have sound. Jeffrey, don't have sound from the Sara. Can everybody hear me?
Yes, yep. I can hear you.
All right, Sarah, can you hear me? We can't hear you for some reason. Anyway, so Sarah from Godelia in the Bierzo will figure out the sound problem, and we have next to me Fernando from DOSTERRAS, Montsant, and down below we have Gareth.
Hi, I'm Gareth York from Ferré Catasús in the Penedès.
Okay, let's go to Sara now. I'm not hearing you. Do the rest of you hear us?
I can hear you.
Can you hear Sarah though?
No, can't hear Sarah. Maybe she hasn't got her microphone on.
Okay, Sarah, we'll come back to you. If you can phone in, and we'll try and sort out your problem. So let's go to Fernando then. Fernando, up first.
I was hoping to go second.
So Fernando, you're down in the DO Montsant. Perhaps you could tell us a little bit about where you are and a little bit about the terroir that you're working with,
sure.
or have on the grapes.
Yeah, sure. I'm from Mexico City. The project started in 2011. We have a small winery, but only friends and family near Mexico City. And after a trip to Priorat with my grandfather, I decided I wanted to start making wine there. And I acquired a small plot of land of old Grenache. It's a beautiful, beautiful hectare. It's just an hectare. It's clay and limestone. It's divided in half, so you can see the division, and that's why we call the winery DOSTERRAS. What we have in DOSTERRAS and in Montsant. Well, Montsant has plenty of different soils. We have granite, we have clay, limestone, slate. So we have a lot of complex and elegant wines, but mostly elegant, drinkable wines. That's what we're trying to do in DOSTERRAS. We don't repeat every year. We're kind of weird in that way. It's just I fell in love with the land and the people, and after my first trip, I met our winemaker. Her name is Noemi Javier. She's the soul of the winery. She makes these beautiful experiments, because every year we make different things. We try to well, yeah, they're experiments, because we try to do what we like. We have fun, and we make wines for people to just to drink, have fun, and feel something else than I'm just gonna drink it. We want to make a memory. It's wines to remember. As we say, we harvest emotions. Are you listening to me? Am I? Yeah, Anthony?
Yeah. Yes. Okay, sorry, I had my mic off. Right. So, so people often confuse Montsant with Priorat, but that's not the case, is it? It's kind of Montsant goes around like a horseshoe shape around the Priorat.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
are they,
The whole mountain, and Priorat would be in the center.
right? And so the soils, the terroirs are completely different in such a short distance.
Completely different. As I said before, Priorat, it's mostly slate, and the wines over there in Priorat, well, we share a lot of common things, and but the thing is, we have more variety. We don't only go for slate and that's it. We go for clay, limestone, granite, slate as well, and blending it all together makes a really nice identity for Monsanto wines.
Right, and presumably you're working with Garnacha.
Yeah,
variety.
we work mostly with Grenache and Carignan. Those are our main, but we're weird winery, so we also have Cabernet and 75-year-old Cabernet that we make a beautiful wine from it. We only make small productions of everything, but we make small batches from this and that, and we just want to play with it. It's wine, it's fun, and we try to have fun and make elegant and memorable things. So yeah, mostly Grenache and Carignan are
And old vines are more than are they old vines?
our youngest vineyard is 20 years old. Then we go to 45 years old. That would be our single vineyard, Grenache 100%. And then we have in this one that it's a blend. We have the 20-year-old Grenache. And yeah, that's our youngest. We go from 20 to 75.
Okay, and DOSTERRAS presumably it refers to two different estates. The name DOSTERRAS.
The name DOSTERRAS, as I said before, is when we acquired the first plot of land, the first vineyard. It was this beautiful. It's the 45-year-old vineyard we have now. It's divided. It's the same vineyard but different soils. It's right in the house to clay, so you can see the rupture between in the middle of the vineyard. It's beautiful. It looks crazy good.
Great, come and visit. So I see you've got two wines that you've already referred to on the table. Can you tell us a little bit about each? I know you've already mentioned varieties, but could you just take us through each one a little bit, show us the labels a bit closer? So, okay, hold it still. All right, okay. Don't know, I can't tell. His microphone from the webinar. Actually, Fernando, I can't hear you. Can anybody else hear him?
No, not now. I wasn't hearing him for any of the description of his wine, I'm afraid.
Check your microphone. Was working fine. Nothing.
Me neither.
No, I can't hear him at all.
Okay, not to worry. If you could just, we'll move on to Sarah and we'll come back to you. Don't worry, we'll hear about the wine.
Now,
Sarah's sorted hers out, so so Fernando, don't worry, we'll come back. If you just if you could see if you can figure out the mic problem. It's not our end. So let's go over to Sarah now.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah, we got you now, yes.
Okay, perfect. I have very low signal, so probably it's because of that. I'm Sara Courel from Bodegas Godelia in Bierzo region. We are in the northwest part of Spain and in Castilla y León, but in the west and north part in the border with Galicia. Our winery is a family winery that started in 2009. And the name of Godelia and the logo, it's because we want to push of what we are made of, especially the region, the grape varieties, and also all the history through our region and the wine tradition we are working in. Godelia is the blend between the two main native grapes we have in our region. It's Godello and Mencia. So we try to make a blend more focused on Godello because when we started in 2009, we saw a very big potential in this grape variety. Now it's become very fancy, but in 2009, it was a forbidden or forgotten value for our region. And we use a shell like a logo because we are in the St. James Way, El Camino de Santiago. So it's something that we want to focus in because the wine tradition we have now, it's the wine tradition that is very related with El Camino because the French monks come through the peninsula to go to Santiago de Compostela and they brought the way we produce wine now. Because in the past, for sure, Romans produced wine, but in other way, very different to what we do today. So in Bierzo, we are in Castilla y León, but we are more in the green and wet part of Spain. It's a very mountain region, but it's all surrounded by mountains. So the main region is a hole. And inside this hole, we have different slopes, different orientation, and different kind of smaller mountains. So all the vineyards are around this area. So they are very, very different. In this kind of regions, the terroir have a very, very special meaning because you can have in 1 kilometer distance, very, very different grapes and quality and soils. In terms of soils, we have 3 main soils, and the main one is clay. We have red clay in our soil, and some of our vineyards have some slate and a lot of minerality. They're very poor soils that produce very great grapes, and some of them have pebbles and small rocks that they come from fluvial soils. Because in the past they were covered by water. So this is other type of soil that we can find very usually in our vineyards. So the Bierzo is quite recent compared with others because it started at the end of the 80s. It was in the 89, and it's quite small. And we have about 79 wineries now in the region. And it's very focused on the native grapes that we have because they are quite exclusive in terms of other grape varieties that they are in other parts of the world. For red, our main grape is Mencia. It's located especially in our region and also in our other regions around us, especially in Galicia and some parts of Portugal. And we have some of also Garnacha Tintorera. And for whites, the most famous is Godello. We also share Godello with Galicia, especially with Valdeorras. And we also have Doña Blanca, that is also a native grape with a very, very small production in our area. And we have some Malvasia and also Palomino Jerez. So this is the three grape varieties that we use to work in our region. And I would say that in terms of production, Mencía can be around 75%, and Godello can be around 10% of the production, and the rest are very, very small production of other grape varieties. Now the times are changing a lot, so people is starting to plant more and more Godello because the whites produced with Godello are becoming very, very interesting in the wine world, because it's a grape that it was very less known, but it can have a very big results in wine, especially because you can make white wines to age with this grape variety. That is something that in the past wouldn't do anyone here in the northwest part of Spain. And for Mencía, it's where we have the main production of our region. I have to say that in the past, in the Bierzo region, before the DO, the new way we produce wine and the known people that is producing wine here, Bierzo was a region that produced clarete wines, so they blend red and white grapes to produce wine. And this is the reason we find in our very old vineyards always the red and the white grapes mixed. And when we talk about old vineyards, I have to say that Bierzo is one of the wine regions in the world that have more percentage of old vineyards in total, because almost 85% of our vineyards is old. We have for sure new plantations, but they can have about mainly from 40 to even 100 years old for the vines, and especially the very old vines are Mencía, are red, and also some of them are Garnacha and Jerez or Palomino. And for us in our winery, we are managing about 50 hectares now, and in our production, about 70% is Mencía and 30% is Godello. We are focusing in producing new wines with these grape varieties. It means that we are producing one Godello sparkling. We are producing one Godello that I will present later, and another limited production of very old vines that it's aged in barrel and also in concrete egg. And for Mencía, we try to do always something different, and we have some Mencías, but we are producing also a late harvest Mencía, that it's something very unusual in here. So I will start to present the first wine. I hope you can see it. This is Godelia Godello. It's our basic white. And this is a blend between the two native white grapes we have in our region. It's Godello with Doña Blanca. It's about 90% Godello and 10% Doña Blanca. We produce both varieties separately, and we made a kind of coupage. Then after that, it stays for 5 months on lease in the tank. We produce this wine this way because when we started in 2009, we decided to produce 2 varietal wines. But at the end, we found out that the grape varieties, they were better together than separately, because Godello has a lot of powerful in the mouth, and Doña Blanca is really aromatic. So they together are better than separately. So this is the reason we mix the both grapes in this wine. And for this one, I would say that for pairing, well, for sure it will match very well with seafood, with fish, with rice, even with white meat, with chicken, and sometimes with some spicy food, because it has high acidity, so it cleans very well the mouth. So it can pair with not very spicy, but spicy food. And it's a wine that is very, very gastronomic, but it's also very nice by the glass. So it's very varietal, very, very from from our style of Godello in what we have in Bierzo. It has a very big mouth, so it's a white with a big character. We also are producing a limited production of Godello. This wine is it comes from a very old vineyard in Bierzo. The age of the plants is about 80 years. This one is 100% Godello, and we only produce the best years. This is aged for 8 months in French oak barrel, and we share with the concrete eggs. For this wine, the most special thing is that it comes from a very special vineyard that has a lot of minerality and salty notes. So that way we share the barrel with the concrete egg to potential this minerality. So despite these two wines, we are producing also a sparkling Godello by the traditional method. In Mencía, we have a Viernes, that means Friday in Spanish, and it's our younger Mencía. And then we have Godelia Mencía. This is our kind of crianza. But we always say this is a landscape wine, because in this wine, we have the 3 different soils we have in our region. So it's a blend from different grapes from different parts of our region. So it has the flavor of the vineyard of Bierzo in this wine. Depending of the year, it is aged about 12 months in French oak barrel, but it can be 10 or it can be 14. It depends a little bit of the vintage character. So there's no rules in terms of age time. And the barrels are big in all of our aging. It comes from 400 to 600 liters, and that way we preserve more the grape character and the freshness, and we are more respectful with the grapes, because we think we are producing very special and unique grapes. So we want to have the barrel or the oaking like a complement, but it's like the second thing. The main thing is the grape in our wines. And in Mencía, we the same line in Godello, we have a limited production. This is also produces the best years. It's Selección Mencía, and it comes from centenary vineyards. And in this case, we only have slate soils. These vineyards are very old, are from 80 to 100 and even more years. It's from very, very poor soils and very, very small plants that they are producing about 1 kilogram or 1.5 kilograms per plant. And it's aged for 16 months in French oak barrel. And for this wine, all the production is handly made. I mean, it's distilled by hand. It's fermented in open barrels. We press the grapes inside the barrel. So it's our very special Mencía. And despite of that, we are also producing late harvest Mencía, only the years we can, because as I said before, we're in the wet part of Spain. So not every year we are able to leave the grapes in the vineyard until November to have our wine, our sweet wine. So
Okay.
I don't know if you have any question.
Well, we'll just have a look at the chat. Nothing in the moment. Let me. We do have a video for you. We can quickly show that before we move on to Gareth or back to let's see, to Montsant. Let's have a look. We can put. Where's the video? Here we go. Have a look at this.
Okay.
If you turn your mics off, we'll be at there.
Godelia is the result of the following formula: passion, perseverance, and tenacity. The García Rodríguez family, founders of the winery, created Godelia with one thing in mind: to not be satisfied until they reach excellence. their enthusiasm for viticulture in over 35 acres of vineyards spread through different lots at different heights and orientations. Agriculture is the base of the project and the passion of their founders. The team at Godelia aren't a family, although they care for the project as if it were their own. They put their backs into getting the best out of the varieties they harvest: Godello, Mencía and Doña Blanca. They pour their hearts into creating a wine reference with a DNA that reflects the feminine delicacy with which it's made, never forgetting their origins. Passion, perseverance, and tenacity. Enjoy the result.
Okay, very good. Just a quick question. Are you making a sparkling wine with Mencía?
No, only with Godello, only with
Okay.
the white.
Okay, Fernando, are you there?
Yep. Can you hear me now?
Okay, shall we pick up the garnacha again? Okay, here we go. So we were about to.
Okay.
Yeah, very good. We were about to tell us about the wines you have to present today, the varieties, the aging, and if there is any, and so on.
Yeah, sure. Well, first, we're going to present the DOSTERRAS Vermell. If you can all hear me now. DOSTERRAS Vermell is a blend. It's supposed to be an easy drinking wine. It's mostly, as I said, mostly Grenache. It's 50% Grenache. It has 20% Carignan, 20% Cabernet, and 10% Tempranillo. That we call it here Ulgelebre. It's same as Tempranillo. It's the same thing. We don't have a lot of Tempranillo. We just have a few rows of Tempranillo that were planted there before I got here. So we use it just to give it that taste. And for us, this is now biodynamic. We started 2 years ago, and we're pretty happy with the results. So we're gonna keep doing it. For us, it was the best decision ever. This one stays 12 months. Well, fermentation is stainless steel tanks. Fermentation goes for 12 in this one. That is our youngest. It's 12 months. French oak, old barrel, 5 years old, of 5 years, and we're pretty happy with the results. You just can't smell it. I would stay on the ridge smelling this all day. It's that good. It's amazing. It's fun. It's easy to drink, and it's a good entry. Yeah, it would be an entry level for us. It's a great entry level because from this one, if this is our entry level, you can see what we do when we go serious. So yeah, we love DOSTERRAS Vermell. DOSTERRAS Vermell 2016 is, for me, is the bomb, and we keep improving. That's what we try to do every year. Probably next year it's gonna be totally different, but who knows? And then we have DOSTERRAS Plain. It's our flagship. DOSTERRAS comes from the single vineyard DOSTERRAS. Small production as well. We make 8,000 bottles from this one. We're a pretty small winery. We make 35,000 bottles total. So this is Grenache 100%, 45-year-old Grenache, clay and limestone. Just the elegance on it, the silkiness, the smoothness. For me, it would be a wine I would drink every day, every day. I can't. I would have in this quarantine. I would have, but I didn't have it, and it's just amazing. The Grenache there, it's a beautiful plot of land that vineyard is. It's crazy how you see the results on different vineyards we have, that we mostly have Grenache. This one is amazing. We also have the one we do with our top of the line, that would be DOSTERRAS Naixement. We only make 1,000 bottles of it, and it's Grenache and Carignan. Grenache from this vineyard, from Pedreñeres, and Carignan from Berinchel. That's another vineyard we love. And back to DOSTERRAS, I just can't express how much just the difference each year, that because we harvest the clay and the limestone differently. We do the clay in old, and the limestone in new oak. Every year is a surprise. Every year just keeps amazing us, and we're pretty happy about it.
Okay, good. And presumably they're nicely priced, aren't they? In comparison to Priorat wines.
Yeah, they are. Well, these are best buys for us. And these are the wines we produce the most. We do 18,000 of this one and 8,000 of this one, and those are our biggest productions. Anything else is 800, 1,000. So yeah, they are pretty good priced. If I can say the prices here, I would. I can.
Yeah, if you like. It's not.
No, well, it's best buys. It's you get a good wine for your money. Let's not say the price here. Yeah, you get a good wine for your money. And actually, I was drinking before the interview. I was drinking both, but this one actually surprised me the most. I haven't drank this in 3 months now. It's amazing, really. It's easy to drink, no food needed. It just goes right through. So that's what we were looking for. This one, it was wine by the glass, wine for the friends. If you want to take a nice bottle to a friend's house, yeah, you're never gonna go wrong. And yeah, they're good priced.
All right. Okay. Good. Thank you very much. Let's go back to the team here, and we're going to over now from Montsant, staying in Catalonia, to the Penedès wine region with Gareth. Hello, Gareth.
Hi, Anthony. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Now, the Penedès is quite a big wine region. You've got the low Penedès by the sea, the mid Penedès, like 400 meters, and the high Penedès 700 meters or so. Where are you exactly?
Well, we're just in between Villafranca and Sant-Sadurní d'Anoia. So we're located almost in the center part of the Penedès. We have 3 different vineyards which actually take in almost all the altitudes that you were mentioning there. So we have our biggest vineyard is actually down in the lower Penedès, right down to the border with the Tarragonese. Then we have another vineyard up a little bit higher up, between 400 to 700 meters up, over in Font-rubí, north of Villafranca. And then when the winery is set, which is actually what you have here behind me, this is the winery. We're at about between 100 and 200 meters above sea level. Okay, a little bit of history and the origins of Ferré Catasús, if you'll let me.
Sure.
The winery was founded in the year 2000 by Senor Josep Maria Ferré and his son Luis Ferré. They've been farming the land here and producing grapes for years, and they decided that it was high time to, like many in that time then, that they would set up a winery, create a brand, and bottle their own wine instead of merely selling it to other producers. So the cellar was born in the year 2000. It's part of the Ferré group, and we have quite an interesting background and history to the group, because the Ferré group is the owner of the emblematic Catalan modernist restaurant Os Quatre Gats in Barcelona. And Os Quatre Gats was a cafe back in the 1900s where artists like Pablo Picasso, Antoni Gaudí, Santiago Runyol, Ramon Casas were customers. So there's very much in our DNA is art, as you can see with our labels here. As we have, as far as varieties are concerned, we have quite a wide range of varieties. Obviously, we have the classic whites from the Penedès. So we have Xarel·lo, we have Macabeo, we also have Chardonnay, and around the vineyard, around the winery itself, we actually have a rather nice vineyard of Chenin Blanc, which we use here in the Sommet Tritas, and we'll get to this in a moment. Okay. The winery is actually a lovely building, a modernist building that was built on the site of the old farmhouse, the old Mazia. Okay, and we actually have a restaurant above that as well. So there's art, there's gastronomy running a little bit through our veins, as it were, here. We are very lucky to have two ladies as winemakers, and listening to my colleagues earlier on, they work as well very much. Obviously, they're working, but experimenting a bit each year, taking advantage of what the land gives us, obviously tasting the different varieties. And so each wine does vary from year to year, depending on whether the Muscat was better, or the Chardonnay was better, or the Xarel·lo, in terms of composition and as well the varieties themselves. Okay.
Okay, yeah. So these is there any particular artist doing your labels, or?
Well, we have a very talented designer who does the labels. It's not an artist who's known as an artist, but we just have a very also the boss, the owner of the winery, Luis Ferré, has a very inquisitive and creative mind as well, and so he comes up with the ideas of the labels, and then we have this marvelous designer who actually puts it on the label and creates these lovely labels.
Right. So the two wines you have here, was it
So we have Cap de Trons, which is the red wine, okay, and Sommet Tritas, which is the white. If we begin with the red wine, Cap de Trons. This is as I say, our red wine. It's made with Merlot, Syrah, and Cabernet Franc from three different estates around that we have. We have a particularly fine vineyard of Merlot, and although obviously it's not an indigenous grape variety, and in fact, as people will know, the Penedès traditionally has always been a white wine growing area. These international red grape varieties were introduced back in the 50s. But we do have this marvelous vineyard of Merlot, and I think we firmly believe that if you've got good fruit and it produces nice wine, then use it. So that's the backbone of this wine, and also with our superior wine as well, the Merlot runs through the whole range. The Syrah and the Cabernet Franc are just there to bring in certain matices, yeah, and to give it just a little bit more extra body and also fruit, etc. As I say, the wine is the 2009 vintage. It's organic certified, and also Act for Vegans. That's harvest mechanically. Normally we harvest the red varieties towards the middle of September. These recent years, with the climate change the harvest has advanced each year, so we harvest in the early hours of the morning, because the minimum temperatures can be anything up to 27 degrees. So, and in the daytime can be 38, 39, 40. So we bring once the grapes are in the cell, obviously a pneumatic press, soft press, and then just aged in stainless steel tanks. There's no oak in this wine. The red fruits, such as raspberries, cherries, and red currants rather predominate in here. Going back to the vineyard, we have clay, loam, sandstone, and some silts. Average age of the vineyards, these are actually fairly young, between about 10 and 20 years old. Okay, but it's a nice, intense, easy drinking wine, very fruit driven, soft tannins, and great for example, some nice roast lamb, a good steak, obviously. I mean, lightly chilled, I would drink it with something like some tuna, or even try it with some nice stewed cuttlefish with mushrooms and peas would be lovely, just lightly chilled. Okay. Going on to our white, Sommier-Thuyters, you obviously seeing it, we are a very Catalan winery. Sommier-Thuyters is basically, in Catalan, means a daydreamer. And this is our white, again, 2019, also organic certified. Basically here we have Muscat, Xarel·lo, Chardonnay, and Chenin Blanc, as I said, from our vineyard around the winery that surrounds our winery here. There's a lovely... Excuse me?
Popular with the ladies, this wine, perhaps?
Well, yes, but why not for the guys? I am a firm believer that, and an old friend of mine said that there are really only two types of wine. There's good and there's bad. So, and for me, I like to get away from the cliches and those old ideas of red wine for meat, white wines for fish. Obviously, classic pairing with this would be a nice paella. With the freshness and the nice acidity coming from all, the Chardonnay and the Chenin Blanc, why not some nice marinated salmon, like the in the Norwegian countries, or Scandinavian countries rather. Obviously, a lovely seafood paella would be delicious, but some roast pork, roast chicken, white meats as well would be perfect. And as I say, it's great for the guys as well.
I find that white wines with Muscat do go down well with a lady if you want to.
Well, yes. I mean, obviously, those lovely aromas that of just fresh grape juice is so wonderful. But then, having said that, with the Chardonnay to give it some extra fruit, the Xarel·lo giving it body, and that Chenin to bring a nice acidity and long-lasting finish to it. I think we have a nice, interesting balance here. Sorry?
Have you tried that blend with to make a cava?
Well, we have to be careful because, of course, certain varieties aren't admitted in the DO, and I don't believe, unfortunately, that. I mean, it would be rather fun to do it. Another future possibility would be to make a sparkling wine, perhaps, not in the DO. But that would be interesting, especially with, I think, the Muscat. I'm very much in favour of high aromas in wines. Absolutely, yes, yeah.
Okay, so Gareth, and a question I'm going to ask everybody is: which export markets are you particularly interested in reaching out to in this program, and the recordings that people will see for years after this?
Well, as far as we're concerned, we are present already in Holland. We're present in Germany to a certain extent. We have a customer in China and Japan. But having said that, each of these countries, we'd be delighted to expand our business there. We're also looking very much and interested in Belgium. We do produce cava. So and Belgium is the main carbon market. So that's a market for us which we're interested in. USA as well, especially the East Coast, New York, New Jersey, Florida, and California would be interesting markets for us to open up as well. England right now, UK is a complicated issue with Brexit, but I as well would like to expand in Japan and China as well, and Switzerland.
Okay, so same question for Sara. Your interest, key export markets, where would you put your priorities if you could choose?
Well, I will focus on East because for the moment we are quite well represented in North America. With also we will looking for expand our business in South America, but especially in East in the East markets. We are working a little bit in China, and we are well represented in Japan. But for us, it has been very hard to expand the business there. And well, in Europe, we have some markets, but expanding the business in Europe will be also a great point for us.
Okay, well, a future edition of this program may focus especially on Asia, because I think most are going to bed now, so they can only see the recordings. So it's difficult to get the timing right, to get the US in early morning and the Asians in late evening, and the Europeans shouldn't have a problem after lunch or fall asleep. Fernando, and where were you looking to specifically?
Yeah, our markets that we're really looking forward to open this year would be US, especially West Coast, and Asia for sure, and Germany. That would be I think that's our target right now.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. Let me see one thing. Okay, let's go get everybody back into the same room. Here we go. There. Okay, so we haven't had any specific questions. People are watching live and after the event's finished are welcome to contact each of the producers. There's a page on the website. There's a contact form you can complete, say that you're a wine importer, you're interested in talking about a particular wine or representation, and so on. So please refer to the winepleasures.com website, click on the profile of each producer you're interested in or you're watching now, and start talking and do a one-to-one tasting with the producer at some stage in the future. So thank you to Gareth, thank you to Fernando, and thank you to Sara for joining us on the live interviews. It's always a challenge doing these live interviews, because we never had two mics go on the same program, but anyway, we're kind of thinking, was it us? But anyway, thank you very much, and we hope we get some business from it. Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you, Anthony, so
Thank
much.
you very much.
Bye-bye, Sarah.
Nice to meet you
Bye,
guys.
Fernando. Nice to meet you.
Bye, Sarah. Bye, Gareth.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Sarah.
Bye.
Thanks.